Hey, it's Rod B. Thanks for watching. You know, I'm the type of guy that I like to build things that I've never done before. I like to try things that I've never done before to see if I can do it, right, or to teach myself how to do something. And that's why I started making guitars. I just wanted to know if I could build one, and every time I say, well, I'm not going to build another one, I get another idea of something that I want to try to do, and I wind up doing it again. So that's what I'm doing on this one. What I have here is a Explorer style body, if you can tell. What I did is I cut the back of it off. It's kind of too heavy, and I did one of those, let's flip the pattern and see what happens, and that's what I did. So I cut the end of it off, because this is the same pattern as this. I just took the pattern and flipped it because I thought it came out with a pretty cool looking shape. But what I'm going to do with this today is I have some abalone inlay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this inlay and I'm going to inlay it right here, and I want to take the other one and I'm going to inlay it at an angle right here, kind of like that. So that's what I want to do today. I've never done it before, but I want to give it a shot, and that was another reason, because every time I try to do something, or I go on YouTube and I search it and search it, I can't find exactly what I'm looking for. And I couldn't find exactly what I was looking for when I wanted to do this. So I talked to some people over at Woodcraft and other woodworking places on how they would do it. So I got an idea how I'm going to do it. That's what I'm going to do today. So stick around and let's see what happens and see if it comes out pretty good. Okay, this is what I'm going to do. I don't know if you can see the bottom of it here. I've already started marking lines on how I wanted it, the inlay to go in there, and that's when I had the big fin on the back of it back here. So I've decided I just wanted to come from here and come in at an angle. So I'm going to put these at about a one inch from the base at an angle, and I'm going to knock them over about like this. Give you an idea what I'm trying to do. That's what I'm going to go for. So I got my square set at 1 inch, and I'm going to mark an inch here, and I'm going to mark an inch here, flip it over. I want to do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to take the ruler off, line up my line, and I'm going to mark it all the way across. And I'm going to mark the other side, 1 inch. And there's the cross section in the center. So I want them to meet right here. So what I'm going to use is I have a 5/32 router bit, which is just slightly wider than this strip, and this strip is probably a 1/16 or less thick. So I'm going to route a gap down this line up that point, and then I'll do it to this side, and I'm going to do it probably a 1/16 or just over a 1/16 of an inch deep. I don't want it really deep, and then we'll go on from there. So let me set my router up, and then we'll figure out how I'm going to line my router on here so I can get a nice straight line. Okay, went and got my neck pattern and put it on there for a straight edge, and I've got this bit in there, and I got it down as far as it'll go. So what I did was I took it and I lined it up with the line on both sides to make sure that when I run it through, I'm on this line. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clamp it down with some clamps, crank it up, and just make that line all the way through. Okay, now I got my router bit set just under 1/8 of an inch to make this line, and I'm only going to go to right here, and then I'll switch the pattern and do the other side. All right, now let me undo everything, flip it back over, and we'll route the other side. All right, I got my straight edge on here. I've got everything lined up. We just need to make one more cut down this way, and we can see if the inlay fits. That was simple enough. Here it is. See right there? I got them in, so I'm going to see if this inlay fits, and then I'll show you how I'm going to attach it to the body. All right, let's see if this is going to fit. So it should be. That fits perfect. It's going to go like that. And this one will go like this. So I want to cut the corners off at an angle so they'll meet up, and then I will show you how I'm going to fill this all in. Okay, what I want to do now is I want to try to cut an angle on these so when they fit together they're flush. So I want to line this up, the corner up with the edge here, try to center it up, and then cut it like that. I'm going to do the same thing with this side. I'll line it up. I'm going to find center and cut it. And we'll see if they fit up and match. That one should go there. That one goes there. And now that fits up nice and snug. So that's what I want right there. Okay, now what I want to do is I want to take the tape off the back of it. I can do that. There it goes. I'll get tape off the back of it, got me a little screwdriver. I'm going to try to center that up right at the edge. Right there. And I'm going to push it in. Like that. And I'm going to cut this off on this side. Let me get the other one. All right, now this hard part is I got to get that matched up really good so I don't see a seam in it. There we go, right there. And we'll push it in. I'm going to cut this off. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to take some tape, clean piece. I'm going to put some tape right here on the edge. I'm going to make sure that all this stuff is pushed down nice and tight there. So I'm going to put some tape on the edge, put a couple pieces. Put some on this edge. You probably already got an idea of what I'm about to do. Okay, now I've got my resin. I'm going to mix up some resin, not much, and I'm going to pour the resin down in this groove right here. And then let it dry, and we'll come back and sand it, and I'll have a nice shiny inlay in there. So let me mix this up, and then I'll be right back and we'll pour it in. Okay, I got it mixed up. Now, if you've never used the epoxy resin before, it's mixed 50-50 or 1-to-1, just like your regular, two-part epoxy. You can get this stuff at Home Depot, Lowe's, Amazon, or Walmart, or whatever, Hobby Lobby. They're like $15 to $20 something depending on the size you get. But I'm going to pour this as slow as I can into here. I don't care if it gets on the wood a little bit because I still got to sand it. So, and you want to make sure that it's level, because you don't want it running to one side or the other, one side thicker and all that. So you want to make sure that your surface is level. I'm going to go ahead and try to pour this in here. Okay, now it's poured in there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a heat gun. I'm going to turn down about 400 degrees, and I'll go over it. And if there's any bubbles in the epoxy, it'll make those bubbles come to the top, and they'll pop, and you won't get no bubbles in your epoxy on your inlay. All right, that ought to do it. So I'm going to let this sit here overnight, and it'll get hard. I mean, it'll get hard in about 30 minutes. I mean, you have about 30 minutes, maybe 20-30 minutes to pour it and work it before it starts to get hard. So I'm going to let this dry overnight. I'm going to come back and sand all the excess off, and then I'll show you what it looks like. All right, it's the next morning, and the epoxy resin is dry on my inlay. Now, I came in this morning and I sanded it down with 120 grit, then I went to 320 grit, and that's as far as I'm going to go until I'm done with the body and I'm ready to polish it up. Well, this is really not that difficult to do, so if you've never done it and you want to do it, just think about what you're going to do before you do it, draw it out, plan it for a day or whatever, and if you know a carpenter or a woodworker, ask them some questions or get some advice from them, and they will help you out greatly to do that. So it was really fun to do, and it looks really good. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put a tremolo on this on my next video. So if you're interested in that, hit the like, subscribe button, come back and check it out. And I appreciate you watching. Y'all have a good day.